I guess you love movies. I do too. Hi guys, and welcome back to another classic movie review. Today we are going to be reviewing one of the last great westerns. It just about fits into this bracket. It's just about pre-1970, 1969's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It stars Paul Newman, Robert Redford, Catherine Ross, and it's about two bank robbers and train robbers and notorious outlaws named Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, who flee to Bolivia to get away from a super posse of lawmen who have been put together by the unions on the railroad in order to try and catch these outlaws, and they flee to Bolivia to try and get away from them. Now, what did I think of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you about today. I've heard about this movie for a long time. I am a westerns fan. I enjoy westerns quite a lot. Of course, I've already reviewed The Good, the Bad and the Ugly in this segment. And The Good, the Bad and the Ugly is probably my favourite western of all time, alongside The Search as John Wayne and John Ford's film. And I did enjoy this movie. I really enjoyed it overall. And firstly, the positives of the film are obviously the performances. Paul Newman and Robert Redford are great. They have great chemistry together. And really, it starts the sort of anti-hero film. You know, these two characters at the end of the day are pillagers and murderers. They steal and kill people, but you can't help but feel for them because of the way the characters are portrayed, the way that they're shown, and different scenes that are created in this film. There's sympathy for these characters. They feel like real people. You can understand their reasonings, and it's just in their nature to steal and kill. It really is, and wherever they go, they can't help themselves. They just keep, going back to these instincts. And really, I think Redford and Newman are great together, and they really show this in a really good way. Another thing that I really enjoyed in the film was the cinematography. I thought the cinematography was gorgeous. There were some really great shots of the landscape and of the Old West, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed The Searchers for a lot of the same reasons. But I think The Searchers is a little bit more good looking than this movie, but this movie is very, very nice, very well shot, very enjoyable. I believe it did win an Oscar for cinematography, and it definitely deserved that. I enjoyed a lot of the action sequences, a lot of the shootouts I thought were very good. You can definitely tell that this movie is a new Hollywood movie, the sort of late 60s, early 70s, sort of the birth child of the sort of new Hollywood movement with Scorsese and Coppola and filmmakers like that. There was a lot of films made of people running from the law, from their sort of pasts, and then it ended up catching up with them by the end. And this film is no different. I mean, it definitely reminds me of films like Easy Rider, and Bonnie and Clyde especially, which were made a few years before this film. And you can definitely see that influence on this film, but it's kind of integrated into the Western genre. But this film almost doesn't realise that it's a Western. It doesn't feel like it's completely self-aware, which is unusual. It doesn't normally happen like that in films like this. But that's what I thought about this film. In terms of negatives, really there are only two. There's the first one, which is really minimal, which is that sometimes I feel like Catherine Ross, who is good in the movie, and she does have a fair share of good scenes, is kind of somewhat overwhelmed by Redford and Newman in this film, and I feel like she's out-acted in more or less every scene she's in. And there's a few scenes where she's excellent, but it's a little bit inconsistent. And I would say that my main negative is the middle portion of this film, which is where they're running away from the posse and they're out in the wilderness. That scene stretches out too long. It feels a bit repetitive. They keep saying the same thing over and over again, which is, who are these guys? Who are these guys? Who are these guys? And by the time that we get to the end of this, by the time it's nearly over, we're like, can they just get away from these people already? Because it gets kind of repetitive. They say the same things happen, and even though the visuals are gorgeous, it does get a bit repetitive in that middle section. First half's great, sets up the characters, sets up their world, sets up their situation really well, and Redford and Newman are great, and the ending is really amazing. It's iconic. That freeze frame at the end is fantastic. But that middle portion is a little bit repetitive, and that's really my only major problem with this movie. Otherwise, it's an exceptionally entertaining Western with great performances, cinematography, and you can definitely feel that Hollywood new wave in this movie and its influences from earlier films like Bonnie and Clyde and Easy Rider. So overall, I really enjoyed Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. So there you go, that's my review of Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe, drop your comments down in the section below. What's your favourite Western? Is it Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? Is it Searchers, Good, the Bad and the Ugly, or is it something different maybe? Whatever it is, drop it down in the comment section below. And hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye.